Hey, you're watching Wayne's Hot Rods on YouTube. Thanks for joining in. This is a build I did for myself 2 years ago, I think. Bought a 95 Camaro Z28 for my sister and proceeded to order all the parts for underneath the car. I left the internals of the engine stock. I sent the transmission out, had a stall converter put in it, and they went through the tranny to freshen it up. Pretty much changed everything outside the engine. We put long tube headers on it, put air conditioning delete, changed the OptiSpark, wires, plugs, mass airflow, cold air intake, put single chamber flow masters on it, ran O2 sensors, ended up buying the extenders for them. I could never get it to tune. I couldn't figure out the programming. And from there, we put a quick performance 9-inch in it with a spool, 389 gears, 35 spline axles, beautiful rear end. I would recommend going to Quick Performance. They're not a sponsor, but they produce a quality product. Um, all UMI parts, did frame connectors, torque arm, which takes the torque arm off the tranny from the factory and moves it backwards. It's all adjustable. Came with a new cross member that ties into the frame tie. It's all adjustable, everything underneath it. Adjustable panhard bar. We obviously tires and wheels. Went with the Aeromotive fuel system. Factory tank, but has a foam inside it. Nice install. Wiring came complete with relays, everything. Did a nitrous outlet, nitrous system. There's a picture here with the tank in the back window. That was for pictures. I put it down in the back so you couldn't see it and kept it out of the sun a little bit. Car ran really good on the street. Had a little issues with it being too cold. I should have changed the thermostat. You can see there's one picture. I think I changed the throttle body, went to a 58 millimeter, and it was fine. But when I put the throttle body on it, or I'm sorry, the nitrous plate on it, it moved it ahead, so it hit the thermostat. So I ended up taking out the idle air control and making a plate and bolting it back in just to get rid of it, so I could run the nitrous plate on it. Nitrous outlet said they never had a problem with it, but I did. Ran the car at the track, but had issues with it revving too quick, and I couldn't shift it fast enough. With that shifter, it wouldn't go back into first gear. I needed to buy an aftermarket one. I never did. But on the street, when it was semi warmed up, it really would rip. And was going to build it, bought an LS for it, and I ended up buying a totally different car, as you guys can see in my other videos. A friend of mine owns the Camaro now, and hopefully I can help him out with it, and we can get it moving even faster. Put AFCO coilover double adjustable shocks with 150 springs on it. It was really a decent build. For the most part, went together very easy. Definitely using a lift was the way to go with it. About the biggest thing I ran into, I put solid motor mounts. And the biggest thing with that was it hit the steering column, the header did, after I put the mounts in. I probably could have shimmed the motor mounts to lift it up a little bit. I may have done that and or ground down the steering column a little bit so it didn't hit. Now this isn't the first car I've had a problem with it with my Malibu with the solid mounts. I should have shimmed that one also, but I just ground it down. It was fine. The only other issue I had with it that I didn't pay notice to when you put the aeromotive fuel system in is that you have to use an extra ground for the fuel gauge. I ran the stock wiring to the tank as per the instructions, wired it right in so when you turn the key on, the fuel pump's on. It was fine. I did use the factory ground, but it wasn't enough. I should have grounded out the tank a little more. And that was really the biggest issue I had with the whole build, other than when I put the cross member in and the frame ties. It was super, super tight. It did take me a little bit of fighting to get that in. But once it was all together, it stiffened up the chassis really nice. Car didn't ride really any different. I did have to move the shocks up a little bit because it was too low to the ground, and rubbed on the tires. With the rear end, I used the factory rear disc brakes, so I had to use the factory brackets. But you have to put the bearings and everything on regardless, so it was no big deal. Just had to use a press to press them on. I can't really think. I put a new water pump, bunch of stuff, little stuff into the engine. It ran great. It ran cold. I took the AC out and ran really good. The old suspension was totally shot. It was all braided line. I ran. Had to make that up. Ran that for the return and the feed. Used their Aeromotive's aftermarket rebuildable fuel pump. Put that in the factory location. And really, other than that, it was a decent car, decent build. Just I wanted to go faster, and the Mustang was already done, so we went that way. Thanks for Robert Quinlan for letting me use his garage. That's the gentleman I'm building the Jaguar for. You can see in some of the videos. And I'm hoping to put another video up of that car very soon so we can watch. You guys can see what I had done in the past with the car. So, alright, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and any comments, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a great day.